Hi, everyone. My name is Omar Awan, and I'm the Associate Vice Chair of Education at the University of Maryland, and I'm the Associate PD for the Diagnostic Radiology Residency. I wanted to talk today about the letter of interest from a PD perspective. And I wanted to do this because one of you guys actually reached out to me and requested me to talk about this. And I've noticed on social media lately that there's been a lot of conflicting ideas about the letter of interest. So I wanted to sort of clarify what this is from a PD perspective. And I think this is very relevant right now because it's been over a month since you guys have submitted EROS, and many of you have not heard from the program that you're hoping to hear from, and you're wondering, should you submit a letter of interest to show your interest in the program? So I guess, should you write one? Should you write a letter of interest? Is it going to hurt you? Is it going to help you? The answer is absolutely yes. Yes, of course you want to write a letter of interest to a program if you haven't heard from one, especially if you're dying to go there. You absolutely want to. You have literally nothing to lose. If you don't get an offer for an interview, then you wouldn't have gotten one anyways if you didn't write a letter, right? So, there's absolutely no reason you shouldn't write a letter if you really want an interview at a specific program. So there's absolutely nothing to lose there. It can be a powerful way to have PDs take a second look at your application. They've obviously already reviewed your application, but they may, after what you've told them, they may want to take a second look, and they may very well offer you an interview based on the things you say, if you say it appropriately. And we'll go over how you should say the things that you want to say. Now, in terms of the timing, many people submit this letter way too early. And this may sound shocking, but you should really wait about a month after you submit your EROS application to submit this letter. And many people don't follow this, but I'm going to tell you that this is very important because you want to respect a PD's ability to review everyone's application fairly. And it takes time. Some PDs get thousands of applicants. Yes, you heard me. Thousands of applicants to review on every cycle. So, it takes time to go through all those, to read everyone's personal statement, to read everyone's letters of recommendation. PDs are not robots. They need the time to review everything fairly. So, really, to submit a letter before they've had the opportunity to, review everyone's application is somewhat disrespectful, quite frankly. So you want to just wait at least a month and then submit your letter. Now would be a great time to submit your letter since it's been over a month since you submitted EROS. You really want to just respect and trust the process. You may very well get an interview, at a program that you maybe didn't get 2 weeks ago, after PDs have had the chance and opportunity to review everyone's application. Now, in terms of the content, what do you want to say and how do you want to say it? You have to address the PD by name. I can't tell you how many times I've seen "Dear Program Director." I mean, are you serious? Seriously, like, you can't even take 5 minutes of time to look on the website to see my name or to see the PD's name? I mean, that shows how interested are you in the program if you can't even say Dr. Awan or Dr. Smith or whatever the person's name is, right? So you want to really address the PD by name. That goes a long way in making the letter more personable and more credible. It needs to be clear and concise, 2 to 3 paragraphs max. I can't tell you how many times I've read a letter where it's literally 2 pages long, literally like 7, 8 paragraphs. You don't want, the PDs don't have the time to read that long of a letter. They're already getting slammed with all these applications. So you want to be able to communicate very effectively, clearly, and in 2 or 3 paragraphs why you're so interested in the program. If you can do it in 2 or 3 paragraphs, that's the ideal situation. And the main thing is you want to highlight your why. Why is it that you are interested in the program that you're applying to? That's the key. You want to highlight your unique why. Your why should be unique, and no one else's why should be able to match your why. If you can do that clearly, you will write a great letter of interest. So how do you do that? How do you highlight your why? You have to be as specific as possible. I can't tell you how many times people are just so generic. They just say things like, excellent research opportunities, great education. Every program is like that, right? How are you going to differentiate yourself if you're just saying generic things? You have to be as specific as possible as to why you really want to come to the program. So that means geography. If there's a place that you have emotional ties to, you were born there, you lived there, the city in and out, the restaurants, that's what you need to say. You need to stress that aspect of geography and why that's so crucial to your well-being. Family. Do you have family that lives in the area where the program is? Does your significant other live there? Does their family live there? These are things that you have to stress as to your why. Research, cite names of the mentor, cite names. That's key. You want to be able to do that. So if you have an interest in neurodegenerative disease research, and there's a world-renowned researcher in Parkinson's disease, you want to say that your ability to learn from this mentor will be invaluable in your growth as a researcher. And you cite that person's name. If you can do that, it personalizes the letter and it makes it a lot more effective. Education. You want to cite the name of educators. You can cite, Dr. Smith or Dr. Augustine. I've heard him or her at national meetings. As a visual learner, I'm very attracted to their innovative teaching methods. I would learn a great deal through your program, and it'd be an honor to learn and train under, these type of teachers. You want to cite unique curriculum or programs. If there's a global health program or an educator curriculum, you want to explain and cite those and say how that's so crucial to your upbringing as a future clinician. The more specific you are, the more credible your letter is going to be, and the more likely you're going to get an invitation for an interview. In terms of culture, what's the culture of the program like? How, supportive is it? Cite names of residents that you've personally spoken to. That goes a long way. It's like, if I see that, so-and-so has spoken to this resident about the program, wow, they actually know somebody in the program, they've talked to them, I can actually talk to the resident about this applicant, and it can definitely go a long way in offering you an invitation for an interview. So the more specific you are, the more likely you are to succeed with this letter of interest. Now, there's no need to present credentials. I see often, people will restate their USMLE scores, their GPA, and whether they're AOA. We already know that material. We can look that up in a second through EROS, right? There's no need for you to do that. Now, the only exception is if you got like a 280 on step one, a 285 on step two, and it's a really exceptional credential, then I think it's nice to just kind of bullet point that at the end of your letter. USMLE step one, 283, USMLE step two, 279, that's fine if it's a very, superb, score or some sort of credential. But, really, there's no need to do that. We have access to all your credentials, and we've likely already reviewed your credentials. So, that's something that I see often. It's not necessary. This is also very important. Take the time to thank the PD. Oftentimes people don't, you're asking for a favor, so you should thank the PD for taking the time out of their busy day. This is an extremely busy time for PDs. Thank them for even reading your letter. I think that's very important, and that, these, social mannerisms will go a long way in helping you, not just in crafting this letter, but just being a compassionate clinician. The other important point is that you don't want to do this to every single program that you're applying to, obviously. You want to target really the 2 or 3 programs that you really want an interview from that you haven't heard from. Okay, and I think that's very important. It's hard to be sincere when you're writing a letter to 20 different programs, right? It's just not possible, right? So, and that sincerity is going to come out. It's going to be very easy for PDs to detect whether this person is sincere or whether they're not. It'll just come off as a generic letter. And if you're writing 20 letters, you're likely not going to get any, invitations if they're all the same letter, right? But if you really think through why you want to go to a specific program, you do it for 2 or 3 programs, chances are you'll be successful for all 3 of those programs, right? So, target a few to make it as sincere as possible. Don't expect a response. PDs are very busy. So, if you get a response, that's a gift. That's great. That's nice. It's very nice of the PD, but, don't expect that the PD will respond to you. You may very well get an interview without the PD having responded to your letter of interest. I hope that's helpful. Best of luck with this process. I know you guys will all do great. If there are other topics that you want me to talk about, as you did for this one, please drop me a line, drop me a message, and I'm happy to talk about whatever it is that can help you guys succeed during this interview process. Thank you so much for your attention.